That's weird. Alright, let's see. Alright, so we are now on and recording, and I'll let you know that I upgraded my account from last time, so there will be no ads. It's all ad-free now. I was finally able to get all that done in time, so that'll be good for us tonight. I'll probably be able to run in just about an hour tonight because I need to eat dinner around 9, and I've just been out traveling and driving pretty much all day, so I just literally got home at like 7:15, ran in, took a shower, got ready, got all this ready to go, and here I am. So yeah, basically today what I did was drove down to Red River Gorge, Kentucky, which is about an hour and a half, hour 45 from where I live in Louisville, and number one, filled up like 35 gallons of spring water. Number two, scoped out and harvested about 5 different patches of wild reishi mushroom. So I went down April 25th or so last month and scoped out all these different spots, and then went back, just about a month later to make sure they were ripe and ready to go. So I did get quite a bit of them. I got some really good footage. I got some really good videos, and I'm putting together a series that basically can educate a person how to find reishi mushroom, how to locate it, where it grows, where it doesn't grow, where it's really likely to grow, the right time frame to pick it, how you know when it's ripe, how you know when it's bad, and then all of the sort of different things that can happen, like the things that can kill it, the things that you don't want to mess with. So since I'm talking about it, I'll go grab one really quickly and just show you one of the cooler ones that I was able to find today. So hold on one second. Alright, so I grabbed just 2 specimens here. There's number 1 and number 2. I got about, I don't know, maybe 20 or so, roughly. And you can see, hopefully by the color, these have kind of a dark shininess to them, but they're kind of a dust on top, which indicates, so you can see the brown dust there, which indicates that they were mature and they went ahead and spored. So I found a whole lot of really mature, beautiful mushrooms, and the smell coming off them is pretty ridiculous. So now what I'm going to do tonight is prepare them, dry them, so they'll be able to have a long shelf life, which is again going to tie into the whole sort of video course that I'm putting together for like how to actually find reishi mushroom and how to work with it. So that's cool. So yeah, that's what I've been up to today. So I'm ready for the first question. If anyone wants to jump in and be the first one for today. I also have some things that people have already submitted that I'll go back to as well, but we'll go ahead and somebody can do the first question. Probiotics. Okay, first question, do I do Shaolin? No, I do a form of Bagua, which, pretty much all Chinese martial arts have some foundation in Shaolin Kung Fu, because originally when Bodhidharma or Dhammo came over from India and taught the monks yoga and the various forms of meditation, they then basically turned that into all of these other martial arts. So yes and no, I think everyone kind of does a little bit of Shaolin. Let's see, about probiotics. Probiotics are essential, I think, and really one of the highest leverage points of our diet and things that we can supplement. There's a few caveats there. First and foremost, just eating probiotics and cultured foods on a regular basis, whether that's coconut water kefir, kombucha, sauerkraut, kimchi, whole wide variety of fermented and cultured foods should be in our diet on a regular basis because it provides a lot of enzymes, probiotics, B vitamins and things that are just really good for our digestion, our immune system, as well as our neurotransmitters. What a lot of people don't realize, and why people think, or why people should understand that fermented foods are important, is because we're 10 times more bacteria than we are human cells. So it's kind of like we have this garden, or we kind of have this ecosystem which we're trying to grow and trying to facilitate. So we have to ask ourselves, like, what kind of facilitate, or what kind of environment are we growing and facilitating? Or, 10 times more of who we are is bacteria, but what kind? Probiotic or dysbiotic? So that's why it's important to have a good wide variety of beneficial bacteria in our diet. And if we're going to supplement with probiotics, if you just buy a bottle at the store and take the recommended dosage, it's probably not going to do very much. That's why I have a video called the 60-second cleanse, or basically just down an entire bottle of probiotics. And that's really a great way to do it, and really way to really boost your overall levels and actually notice something and actually feel something from the probiotics. So that's just, in a nutshell, what I would say about probiotics and why they're important and when to eat them. Do you eat them on an empty stomach or with a meal? I eat them with a meal. Basically, if I'm going to have my meal, I have some sauerkraut or kimchi on the side, or I have some kombucha or water kefir or coconut water kefir along with that, because again, it's so enzyme rich and probiotic rich that it just helps to digest. And if you're going to take mass doses of supplemental probiotics, then obviously you want to do it on an empty stomach so that it can just move and work as quickly as possible. So hopefully that has been helpful. Let's see, when was the last time you went out of body and what happened? Intentionally, I went out of body probably quite a while ago. I mean, a year or two ago, just because I was really into it for a couple of years and then just sort of got over it and just started focusing on other things, because it can be a little bit of a distraction. It's a fun practice, it's a fun thing to do, but just over the long term, it really, because if you can only focus your time and attention on one thing at a time, it's like, well, what's going to be more important? So, we all go out of body every single night when we dream. So, at least, once a week or a couple times a month, I'll have some sort of out-of-body experience or a lucid dream or something in between. But again, as I said, it's not something I focus too much on anymore, just because there's only so much we can focus energy and attention on at one time. So at some point, we have to sort of rank and prioritize things based on our goals, intentions, and dreams, and whatever we're trying to manifest. So should you still take probiotic capsules even though you eat a lot of fermented foods? Really, that would be up to you and how your digestion is. And you can notice that by how you feel after you eat, how you feel when food's digesting, and then how regular and efficient you are as far as elimination. And just use your own gut and use your own intuition. Why don't I like psychedelics? I never said I didn't like them, and I never said anything really to that effect. What I said was that it's really a really complex issue, and given that I'm making public videos, it's not really something that I should be basically promoting or disproving. I basically just say, like I said, it's a complex issue, and I don't really want to go into it because that's not my focus, that's not what I do, and that's not really what I'm about. So if I can only make 3 videos a week, and those videos are 5 to 7 minutes each, there's really only so much I can get in there at any given time. So does that say that I didn't spend a couple years of my life experimenting and researching and really getting to know these things? Yeah, definitely did, but do I do that anymore? Definitely not. So what do I think about Candida and probiotics? Definitely would be a helpful thing to do to sort of restore and shift that balance from dysbiotic to more probiotic, meaning against life, to more for life. And then also, there's one other question about that. Oh yeah, the fact that humans are 10 times more bacteria than we are human cells. So that's that's kind of an important thing. And what most people don't realize is that not only does a lot of our immune system come from our gut, a lot of our digestion and nutrients obviously comes from the gut, but also a lot of our neurotransmitters are actually formed and come from the gut. So that's why if we don't have a good balance, things can start to get really weird in our mental program, which is why, a lot of people who have, say, we have, say autism or ADHD or hyperactivity or all these things, many people who just get the kids off sugar and basically get them on sort of the body ecology similar diet notice pretty significant improvements. And I can tell you for my own experience, the more that I diminished sugar from the diet, from what I ate, then I noticed that definitely mental things got a lot clearer, nervous system got a lot more balance, and crazy ups and downs and cravings didn't really happen quite as much. So definitely lowering sugar and maximizing fermented foods and probiotics. Do I think everyone should do completely BED for a while, or do I think it's going overboard? No, I think can people definitely benefit from eating that way most of the time? Yes. Is there some things I don't really agree with? Yes. But should we all eat as high quality of food as we can? Yes. Should we eat as high quality oils and eliminate the trans fatty rancid oils? Yes. Should we include fermented foods and probiotics in our diet? Yeah. Should we take supplements which we need and we specifically choose to balance ourselves out? Yeah. But does that mean you should never eat, anything sweet for the rest of your life? Definitely not. I mean, obviously, unless you have some sort of major condition that you're trying to deal with, it's not necessarily worth it. So for me, if I eat anything sweet, I usually stick to something that's made with coconut sugar, something that's going to be made with almond flour, and it's going to be obviously gluten-free and refined sugar-free. Now, that's not to say sometimes I'm not out and I don't, eat something, or I don't, get a dessert at a restaurant, but that's really not something every day. It's maybe once a month or once every couple months. It's very rare. Let's see. A lot of questions. Let's see. Can you tell us about how to deal with our hair and how to view hair products? That's a trickier one because, if you go to the store and read hair products, there's just, it seems like you can't really find something that doesn't have something weird in or something that's like this long. But I like the neem products from Thera Neem. Their skincare products, their teeth products, and their hair products are all pretty awesome. So I would do that. Other than that, I just try to find the best that I can, the cleanest that I can from the natural food store. And that's really all I do, because I don't wash my hair, but maybe once or twice a week or on an as needed basis, meaning wash it with soap, because you can really dry your hair out depending on your certain constitution, or depending on if you're sweaty or working outside. Obviously those are playing a role as well. Some people like to use coconut oil or honey. There's a whole wide variety of things which I just haven't gotten into experimenting with. So, okay, one question before you go to work. Let me know what it is and I'll see what I can do. Have I heard of Ayurvedic Jing Builder? Meaning an Ayurvedic herb that can build Jing? I would say maybe ashwagandha a little bit, or shilajit, but as far as the specific supplement, no, I haven't heard of it. My thoughts on kratom. I've heard of it or read about it, but I've never actually tried it. Just because there's so many herbs, there's so many supplements, there's so many things to try, I just literally haven't gotten around to it right now. Truth Calkin's new green dragon dressing. It's a cool idea, but do I feel that it's very practical or something that I would do for myself? No. It's cool to turn your food into something which is medicinal, which incorporates, superfoods and herbs. That's really cool. But for me, I just usually eat very simply, and then make elixirs or something, have a tea, and just sort of try to keep it really simple and basic, and don't do anything too complex. Because back in the day, I definitely did things which were very complex, did crazy blended drinks and blended salads and all kinds of weird stuff, you name it, basically, and it's sort of really simplified at this point. Recommend one supplement for boosting metabolism. I would say going to an infrared sauna would probably be the most ideal thing for that, and probably the most effective. And just Google around your area and find infrared sauna. You can probably get in there for $25 maybe for a session. If you book a series of sessions, I'm sure you can probably get a discount. So that would be my number one thing. So maybe gynostemma as a tonic herb as well, because it's so dual directional and balancing. Let's see. What do you think? Oh, I lost it. Okay, what do you think about humans being frugivores rather than the common idea of omnivores? Even though when we compare the physiologies of humans to frugivores, there are significant differences. I think can be an entertaining thought exercise, but in reality, we live in a different environment than other species. We might have similar physiology, but we're very, very different. We live different. We live in different environments. We have different accesses to different things. We're under different amounts of stress. We're under different amounts of environmental pollution. We live different lifestyles. It's just on and on and on and on. To say that, I don't really buy into such simplistic ideas. Say, well, primates do this, so we should do that. It's like that's really easy. It's really convenient because you can just turn on your brain and then turn it right off, and then you have this argument or whatever. But I just personally don't think it really works. I'm not saying that if a person sees that, hears that, and think, you know what, that's a good idea, or you know what, that sounds right to me, then definitely do it. I'm just saying it doesn't really make sense, or it doesn't really sound right to me, because if you just take the two things side by side, you can really see that you can't really compare it. Let's see. Does bodybuilding contradict the Taoist philosophy of Wu Wei? Not necessarily, because Wu Wei is its own, 12-hour discussion. But really, you can do any exercise in a relaxed and calm way. Meaning, if you're going to go lift weights, you can lift weights and be really stressed and strenuous and struggle and just beat all of that stress and tension deeper into your body, or you can be very relaxed and very smooth, very in the moment, or very present to what you're doing, and just relax into it, and again, not go over 75 to 80% effort, because once you start to do that, you're going to kick in the stress response, and you're going to start to really deplete your energy reserves. Because it's just like if you were to get in a stance. And I guess it's going to be challenging to illustrate as you can't see me, but let's say you're in a stance and you lean, let's say right here is about 70% and you're comfortable, you're balanced, but let's say you lean forward, 85, 90%. Now you can easily be pushed off balance, and your body's not only imbalanced, but it's having to struggle just to keep you upright and just to keep you elevated. So you're burning energy, engaging in that activity, but also trying to maintain and deal with it and adapt to it. So on both ends, you're sort of depleting yourself. So that's kind of how I would say that. I'm not against bodybuilding, because we're all different. We have different metabolisms, different personalities, and different interests. So bodybuilding might be like something that someone's really into. So I would check out people like Paul Chek, people who are into Paul Chek, and what's this other guy's name? I'm gonna find it real quick. Mike Mahler. I would check out both of those guys because they're really into fitness and lifting weights, but they're also pretty intelligent about the way the body works. Because there's fitness and there's health, and we're not saying that, or in our culture we kind of think that fitness is health, when in reality they're kind of separate. So it's important to understand that and realize that health has a certain set of criteria and fitness has another set of criteria. So I would just check out those two people and see what you think, if that's something that you're into. Let's see, do I know anything about skate liver fish oil? Fish oil in general, and cod liver oil and things of those kind, can be really beneficial and really great for the nervous system, the eyes, the brain, the memory, the joints, all those things. So I'm a pretty big fan of high quality omega-3 supplements. So I would say things like Blue Ice That's a good brand. They have fermented fish oils, but also another brand called Minami, or I think that's what they're called, Minami or something like that. But they have cold processed fish oils, because there's a lot of companies, you know, distill and heat their omega-3s, which that's the most delicate, heat-sensitive oil that there is. So why would you heat it and distill it? So I would just check out with those two companies that I just mentioned. So would I say that a key piece of a healthy lifestyle is not triggering stress hormone release? The fact is, stress is a natural part of life. No matter what you do with your life, you're gonna stress on some level. So the goal is to really fine-tune and adapt to your ability, fine-tune your ability to adapt and handle stress. That's really where it's at. And look at your lifestyle and say, what things can I eliminate? What things can I get away? What things are excessive and causing me stress that don't really need to be causing me stress? And oftentimes, it's going to require a lot of mental programming, because a lot of times we're just overextending and leaking our energy everywhere, where we don't really need to be doing that. To be quite honest, we can learn to be more centered and rooted within ourselves and not have to give so much of our energy and attention away to the external world. So that's what I would say. Just, life in general is stressful, but doing things like meditation and breathing and qigong and massage and body work and infrared saunas and all the myriad of things which I talk about in working with the mind can change how we handle and adapt to stress, which is really where it's at. Let's see, next question. There was a good one. Let's see. How come I don't put more reishi mushroom videos out? I have quite a few already, and I have a lot of podcasts on my site, and I have a whole 7-hour audio course just on reishi mushroom. So I just kind of covered it, and it's already there. I recommend food grade diatomaceous earth as a silica supplement. That's a cool word, diatomaceous earth. I don't really know too much about that, to be quite honest, so I can't really answer that. Let's see, silica, good herbs for that would be like horsetail, would probably be the best one. Horsetail, nettle, oat straw is like classic bone builder, silica rich herbal formula, so I would check out that one. Let's see, what herbs do you garden? Actually, I live in an apartment right now, so I don't really have a garden. The reason I have that YouTube name is because I registered that years ago, before I had ever planned to actually have a YouTube channel. So if I could change it, I definitely would. So what foods are best for digestive healing other than fermented foods, bone broths, and aloe vera? I would say slippery elm bark could be good. Also healing the digestive tract, I would look at, there's colonics could be part of it. Also massage, getting body work or lymphatic work on your digestive system. So there's a technique called the Maya, M-A-Y-A abdominal massage. You can see if you have a practitioner there. There's also another thing called Chi Nei Sang. So it's CHINEITSANG. Both of those are massage sort of bodywork modalities geared towards the abdomen. So I would check that out. Also just exercise and getting our posture and spine back into alignment. Because if we see our spine here, our organs should be just tightly snug hanging onto it. But if our spine starts to get distorted, what happens to the organs? They just start to fall down, and that starts to really compress and then thus undermine their functioning. So sometimes just getting our posture opened up, getting our spine moving, doing Tai Chi or yoga or Qigong or just stretching in general, calisthenics to get the spine moving, get the organs in place and strengthen the connective tissue and the fascia, the ligaments and tendons which hold the organs in place, could be really helpful as well. How has the YouTube channel impacted my life? In a whole lot of ways, honestly. I mean, it's allowed me to be self-sufficient. It's allowed me to connect with a lot of really cool people. It's allowed me to express a lot of things which I've been trying to express for a long time. It's also allowed me to really grow as a person, because when I started I didn't really know much about speaking or relaying ideas or communicating or any of those things. So if you ever saw my beginning videos, they were a little bit different than they are now. So just a process of growth and exploration and change and transformation and expansion, following what I'm interested in, what's going on with me, sharing things, connecting with people, having fun all the time. So that's the gist of it. What would be the best meditation for beginners? 3 things. Number 1, if you have an iPhone, iPad, or iPod Touch, go to the App Store and type in brainwave. There's cool apps that you can get and listen to that'll help sort of tune your brainwaves. Number 2, there's this meditation program called Equisync. If you don't have an Apple device that you can do that. Equisync, it's EQUISYNC. I've been doing that for a while and I really enjoy it. I think it's one of the best, highest quality brainwave entrainment things. Number 3 on top of that would be just simple numbers counting, or simple, paying attention to your breath. And you can just look up, simple Buddhist meditations, and that would be really, really easy to get going with. Actually, while I'm thinking about it, there's, I'll grab it. I would say maybe the best things for beginners, and I say this because I'll share with you what I got started on. 2 books that I started with that were really impactful for me in the very, very, very beginning. This one's called Zen Mind, Beginner's Mind, and that's by Suzuki. You can get it on Amazon, I'm sure, for really cheap. Second is called The Tao of Inner Peace by Diane Dreher. And as you can see, I cut it up. This book's just been through the ringer. But both of those books are really simple. One of them, the Tao of Inner Peace, is a little new agey, a little self-help, but really simplifies ideas and things in a way to really digest and process and start to integrate them and apply them. So those are 2 things that I started off with. They're really good. The Dalai Lama also has really good books about meditation and sort of the ideas of it. So I really, dig those and think those are a lot of fun as well. Have I ever tried Vipassana? I don't know. I haven't tried that specific technique, but I've tried a lot of different techniques. As far as just witnessing or paying attention or being the observer, or counting breaths or counting numbers and visualizing or moving energy, or just a wide variety of things. But really, in the end, it's just we're all a little bit different. We have different goals, different sort of predispositions, and also just different time allowances. What do I think of Terence McKenna's book, Food of the Gods? I think his theories and ideas are really interesting, and he was definitely a freaking walking encyclopedia of knowledge and information. I would definitely, I don't know, definitely give him props for all that he said and all that he brought out into the world. So that's what I would say about him. I don't remember that particular book because it's been a really long time. But yeah, definitely the dude is, or was, a walking encyclopedia. Let's see what we got next. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, techniques are just techniques trying to get us to a deeper point. The finger pointing at the moon is not the moon itself. Vipassana is just a technique. So again, it's just about what works for us, what we like, and what we'll actually do. So next question, what are my thoughts on Alan Watts, and will I upload this Q&A? Yes, I will be uploading the recording on my YouTube channel as well. Number 2, what do I think, actually weight loss brainwaves. So the app should be just called Brainwave, and the company is Bonsai Labs, BANZAI-LABS. That's the company name, and you should be able to get one that has like 30 different things for like $3.99. Okay, so back to the Alan Watts question. What do I think about Alan Watts? definitely highly informative, highly impactful and transformative and influential in my own life, and I definitely wouldn't be where I am today without listening to Alan Watts. And I can say I've probably spent more time listening to Alan Watts than probably doing anything else that I've done since being alive. There was just a couple of years there where all I really did was meditate, do yoga, listen to Alan Watts, read, play guitar. That was about it. That was my whole existence. One thing I'll share with you, if you really want to have like hyper learning, retention, memory, and recall, this is how you do it. And if it helps more if you're an auditory learner, but it can help anyone really. It's basically, get yourself into a relaxed state, meaning turn on a lecture of some kind or an audio book, audio course, whatever, and then sit and meditate or do some yoga or do some Tai Chi or Qigong and have that on the background, and that information will just be dumping into your brain while you're in that relaxed state. So it's definitely a quick and easy little hack to really get information super deep into your brain like a lot quicker. That's something I did a lot, and it's a really useful thing. But some people aren't necessarily auditory learners, so it may not work quite as well for them. I happen to be an auditory learner more so, I think. So am I familiar with photo reading? I don't think so. If it's anything like speed reading or being able to look at a page and just read the whole thing. Sort of the idea seems like you would just look at it, see the bigger picture, rather than just word by word. But yeah. Do I believe in ascension or enlightenment? It just really depends on how you define such terms and really what that means in the context. Ascension, in the sense that most people understand it, probably don't have too many good things to say about it, because it's just kind of one of these ideas which can really be a real hindrance to people and keep them from actually fulfilling and expressing and being very abundant in the physical world, because people can get into sort of this trip like, oh, well, it doesn't matter, I'm going to be going to this other place. Whether they're a Christian or a Muslim or a spiritualist or a New Age or whatever it is, it's just getting into this idea that, oh, well, now, who cares? But later it's going to be awesome because I'm this, or I meditate, or I do that, or I'm saved, or I'm holy, and this other time is going to be better. In reality, we just kind of waste our life. So really, it's like, how can we express and be the best of who we really are with the time that we have on this planet? And that really should be, at least in my eyes, one of our main goals. Now, obviously, that's within reason, as all things, and there should be a balance. I'm not saying we have to be a rigid materialist. I'm not saying we should be a rigid spiritualist either. There's obviously a marriage of both. Because in reality, there's really no difference between the spiritual and the material. The only difference exists in our mind because we made up that distinction. But in the actual tangible existential world, there's really no difference. And either everything is spiritual or nothing is spiritual. There's really nothing in between. And Einstein said the same thing. He said you can live your life as if everything is a miracle or as nothing is a miracle. And that's basically the idea that he's getting at. So what are my thoughts on Zen? I think it's a pretty useful modality and a great philosophy, and has a lot of very beneficial, practical, easy to use, and easy to apply ideas that can help anyone. Meaning, you don't have to be a Zen Buddhist. You don't have to practice Zen, but you can read a Zen book and say, hey, you know what? That makes sense. That's a really useful idea that I can apply and use to my life. Because Zen is just a word, but in its essence, it's really just trying to bring us back to actually being ourselves and learning to live and function in a normal and balanced way. So learning more about Zen, this is probably my favorite book and one of the first books that I ever read, called Zen Mind, Beginner's Mind by Suzuki. So that's what I would check out. Does hot water extraction destroy any nutrients? If so, which ones? Obviously things that are really sensitive, probably like vitamin C and maybe even some B vitamins. But that's really probably, I mean, as far as my understanding, I haven't studied it too much in quite a while because I don't really worry about it or really think about it, because typically when you're consuming something that's been hot water extracted, you're not going for, little nutrients. You're not saying, oh, I gotta take Ho Shou Wook so I can get vitamin C. If you want vitamin C, take eat vegetables, eat fruits, take camu berry, take acerola, do that. But you're not going to get the still beans, you're not going to get the polysaccharides, you're not going to get the triterpenes, you're not going to get all these other things in the other foods. So these nutrients aren't really harmed by hot water extraction, are actually made more bioavailable through hot water extraction. So that's kind of how I look at it, and again, I don't really worry about it too much, because I did raw food for quite a while, and I don't really necessarily buy into the whole idea, because some things are actually better when you cook them intelligently and you actually get more out of them, and that's been validated many times over. But again, that's just my opinion. I'm not telling you what you should or shouldn't do or how you should or shouldn't eat. That's just where I'm at and what works for my own personal digestion. What do I think about, let's see, what do I think about Matt Stone? South Park is what you're referring to, maybe. But it's pretty funny in the later seasons. I don't really watch it too much. All right, well then I don't know who you're talking about. I've never heard of him. I'm sorry. Let's see. Do I drink alcohol? I talked about this a little bit in the past video, but if you want to learn like kind of the real story about alcohol, I recommend this book by Stephen Herod Buhner called Sacred Herbal and Healing Beers. As you can see, it's pretty thick, and he did some pretty serious research on the actual history and usage of alcohol. That's some really interesting facts. So do I personally drink alcohol on a regular basis? No, not really. But what alcohol I would drink would be, number one, like homemade mead. Nice. Number two is this unfiltered, unpasteurized, living, organic hard cider from it's from France, actually. I don't remember the brand, but that stuff's really awesome. And then thirdly, there's this stuff called Lambrucha, Lambrucha. It's basically a lambic beer mixed with kombucha. Those are both wild fermentations. Then they take the two of them together and then ferment them again. That stuff is really awesome. It's like about 3% alcohol. It's just, light beer or whatever, but it's pretty interesting. So I would definitely, that's all I would personally consume. And obviously, a high quality red wine is fine too, but it's up to you. So again, I would check out the book Sacred and Herbal Healing Beers by Stephen Herod Buhner. Just type it in on Amazon and you'll be able to get that. Let's see. Colostrum and teeth cavities reversing. I mean, colostrum could help if you use it in your gums. Apply it topically and let it sit. But would I take it as a one-thing cure-all? Definitely not, because if you're having a lot of teeth problems, there could be a huge imbalance in your stomach, which actually could be in your liver. And if your liver is overstrong, it's going to sort of attack and imbalance your stomach, which is then going to sort of imbalance and weaken your stomach, which then is going to start to show in your teeth and in your gums. So it could be that, could be a viral bacterial thing. So again, I wouldn't just take one thing and think, oh, that's going to just fix everything. Do I think consuming meat clouds the mind during awareness practices such as meditation? I can say that personally, no. I've never noticed that. I can tell you that since I added animal products back into my diet, it's a lot easier to meditate. It's a lot easier to be focused. It's a lot easier to stay in that space and be really in tune and feel the energy flowing in my body or feel the chi in my hands pretty much any time. Whereas when I was more strict or more purified in my diet, my nervous system was all over the place and didn't really feel too grounded or feel too rooted. Because it's kind of like your nervous system can only handle so much energy, just like if you have an electrical system in your house, it can only handle so much electricity at a time. But over time, through your practice, through your disciplines, through your diet and lifestyle, you can build this solid foundation which can then allow your nervous system or your electrical system to handle more. So that's what works for me. Obviously, if you're consuming any food product, obviously you want the best. Obviously, you want the highest quality, but if you're especially going to consume any animal products, you definitely want, local, grass-fed, pastured, no hormones, no antibiotics, no factory farms, none of that garbage. You don't want really anything to do with the factory farm industrial food complex at all, but you want the absolute highest quality that you can possibly get. And that's really where I'm at personally, what works for my metabolism. Obviously, if you have different spiritual beliefs or different lifestyle beliefs, then you can, choose accordingly. Because, a lot of people talk about diet and they try to say this is the way. In reality, it's really short-sighted because we all are so different, and we all just really need to know how can we make the best choice for ourselves and what works for us. So that's really where I'm at. Whenever I talk about diet or herbs or any of these things, it's not like I'm saying I'm the preacher and you're, the congregation. You must listen. No, I'm saying, well, here's a way to look at it. Here's an approach. Here's information. Here's a conceptual basis for you to then make the best decisions for yourself. Because in reality, I'm responsible for me. You're responsible for you. We're both adults, and it should be as simple as that. So let's see. What are my thoughts on crystals? I don't really know too much about it. I don't really invest too much time and energy into it. So I can't really speak to, in an educated way on that. What do I think of passion flower? I've used it in teas before, as in tinctures, and noticed like a, mild sort of nervous system or mental effects. But it's a cool herb. It has really interesting effects. And it's really inexpensive, and you can get it and harvest it. You can even grow it yourself pretty easily as well. So I think if you need the things that it's offering, then definitely it could be a great choice. Effect of HGH on someone who's stopped growing, I don't really know, to be honest. Let's see. What type of containers do you use to collect the water from the gorge? If one does not have a local spring water source, what type of filtration system do you feel is optimal? Well, long story short, I used all plastic containers to harvest the spring water today. Now, I used to have all glass containers, but they've all shattered or broken in the most inconvenient and weird ways, whether that's just sitting in my closet and they shattered. I even had one water jug shattered in my car, but the water pretty sure levitated out of my car, and the water at the bottom froze going upwards, which is really weird. So after breaking dozens of jugs, I basically said, all right, I guess I'll have to use plastic for now. Plus I'm living in an apartment right now, so I have to carry them upstairs, so it's just a lot easier. Is it the best thing ever? Definitely not, but really we just have to be able to do the best that we can and adapt to our lifestyle. Yeah, the water froze. The water at the bottom froze in like a stalagmite or stalactite, whichever one goes up. I actually have the picture of it on my Facebook. It's pretty insane. It was a pretty crazy thing, which I'm still not really understanding. Because what's crazy about it is at the time my car was really filthy, and it had, papers and notebooks and books on the floor, on the seat, around the water jug. But what happened was none of those were wet. None of those had any sort of water damage. Basically, I was walking up to my car and I saw a puddle of water under my car underneath the driver's side. But the floor in between it was not wet, and the jug was actually on the passenger side in the back seat. So somehow the water got from the passenger side, back seat, outside the driver's side seat, without getting anything wet in the middle, and then forming freezing upwards. So it's pretty crazy. Let's see. Do I believe in ghosts? Well, I think we only can perceive, a very small sliver of the light spectrum, and our brains only receive a certain amount of information. So there's so much that we don't know that we can't really say either or. What I will say is that having strong beliefs and expectations about something can make it come in, can make you see things, can make you attract experiences to you to really affirm that belief. there's a really cool saying that sort of sums it up, which basically says, what the thinker thinks, the prover proves. So it's kind of saying we have these two aspects of our brain. One part thinks, and the other person says, well, how can we make this seem real to the individual? How can we bring forth an experience or some sort of way which this person can perceive and bring that together? So, interesting thing to think about. Let's see. I just started taking spirulina. My skin is a lot more clear. I'm starting to feel results in the way I feel. I feel more energized. Is it okay to take this supplement for life? Yeah, definitely. I mean, spirulina and all the algae are pretty much food. So I'm a huge fan of the algae. I take a lot of chlorella myself and some blue-green algae. Spirulina is probably my least favorite out of all the three, but it's still really awesome. And I think algae are really one of the best foods/supplements that a person could take. So I really like the chlorella tablets because I don't really like the taste of algae personally. So I just like to take the tablets and just swallow them down, and that's really the easiest way. So let's see. Why does traditional Chinese medicine discourage ejaculation? This question has actually come in a lot because people, well, mostly men actually, because it's not really relevant to women, but men, get into spirituality or yoga or energy work and read about, Chinese medicine says this, yoga says that, you should be celibate, you should withhold, you should never do this. In reality, it's about balance. Because if you do it too much, then you're going to just deplete yourself, obviously. But if you don't do it enough, or you don't do it in the right rhythm, you're just going to stagnate and start to create an imbalance or a misdirection of energy flow in your body. So obviously that's one way to look at it, and we have to keep in mind that each person is different. It's really about the way your metabolism is, how strong you are, how vital you are. If you're a more yin person, you're a more yang person. If you have more reserves, or if you're already sick, you're already depleted, then obviously you're going to need less. If you're really strong, you're really healthy, and you feel okay, then you can do more. But in reality, it's again just comes down to balance and common sense. But there is a lot of value in, number one, learning to control that reflex and learning to be able to redirect it. But as far as like redirecting semen inward, as far as ejaculation, I wouldn't do it because it just seems really kind of against the body, and it seems, to people who haven't heard of it, it seems really weird. And actually the people who wrote books about it, like Montauk Chia and Michael Mann and all those people, they basically came out and said, no, don't do this, it's bad. So I personally wouldn't do it. If you want to do it, it's your body, but it just doesn't really seem in alignment with what your body's trying to do. So again, it just comes down to your age, your health, your level of vitality, and just using common sense and really learning to get in touch and feel what's going on with your body and pay attention to that. What do you believe happens after we die? Good question. I'll tell you when I find out about that. Let's see. If I had, let's see. If I had genital warts, what would I do to cure myself? Neem oil probably would be something to research first and foremost, and then getting on, a body ecology-like diet, eliminating sugar, getting on immune system tonic herbs, and just building a really solid foundation of health. But definitely neem oil all the way, internally and topically. What do I think of Joe Rogan? I saw him live in stand-up, and he was not very funny at all. I'd seen some of his podcasts and some stuff he did online. I thought he was going to be like semi-intelligent, but his stand-up was really horrible and just really immature, really silly, and just yeah. I mean, I'm not knocking the guy. Just his content was just really not up my alley, and definitely didn't really vibe with it or dig it. let's see. Yeah, closet homo. There was a lot of weird of that stuff going on. So let's see. So that's up. Questions are coming in like crazy. Out of the herbs you carry like Hoshu, cordyceps, and reishi, megadoses, good idea. If so, what would they be? Cordyceps probably wouldn't megadose because it's pretty friggin' strong. I've taken a tablespoon of cordyceps at a time. That's the most I've ever done. Didn't do that every day, but done it before. For reishi, I've taken an entire 90 capsule bottle before. Hoshu, the new stuff is like a 16:1, so 2 to 3 teaspoons a day is probably max. But I mean, it's, you could mass dose if you want to just experiment. But the question is, well, why? At what point does your body sort of stop absorbing it? What part do you just pee it out? So you can definitely experiment with higher dosages. For example, if you have something really big coming up, really big event or something, then definitely experiment. But as far as like a mass dose, I just gave you my experience, so that's what I would say. I'm not saying you should or shouldn't do it. I'm just saying that's what I've done in the past, and the worst that I've ever noticed is just like gas, indigestion, and very disturbances of the digestive tract. So that's what I would say. Is that something you want to do over time? Definitely not. So yeah, is Organo Gold a good reishi beverage? Never tried it, but generally not a big fan of multi-level marketing companies, and I doubt they're actually using a concentrated hot water extract of reishi. They're probably just using ground up mycelium, which they can make all these benefits about, but in reality doesn't do that much. If a person drinks a lot of coffee and they're willing to try the Organo Gold, and that's like their first step in anything healthy, then it has value and it has merit and benefit. I'm not going to say it's the worst thing ever, because for some people it might be a good intro. Say, wow, I was drinking coffee, but then I drank this coffee with some herbs in it. What are these herbs? Oh, maybe I'll try these herbs on themselves, and it can open doors. So that's how I would see it was beneficial. If I had to choose between the Organo Gold or like a hot water extract, like the Dunwood Reishi, of course I would go with the Dunwood Reishi. Next question is, when are you getting more Dunwood? I have it in stock right now, actually, so you should be fine on that note. How come you can't buy nootropics from a store? You definitely can. Just go to the Vitamin Shop or Whole Foods. You can get it, 5-HTP, L-theanine, fish oil, GABA, a whole host of different things which can, modulate your mood and your metabolism, your neurochemistry. So yeah, it just depends on where you look. Thoughts on krill oil? I've taken it before, but I didn't really vibe with it too well. So if someone's a vegan or vegetarian or doesn't want to do any fish oil things, then I would obviously do krill oil. But for me, it just didn't seem to really agree with my metabolism. So if I want an omega-3 thing, then I'll do basically a let's see. Yeah, somebody's having fun. What's my favorite fish oil? Mentioned it earlier. It's the Blue Ice Naturals. They have fermented fish oils, which are good. Also, I think Minami. I'm gonna look them up real quick. But they have like cold processed fish oils. Yeah, Minami, M-I-N-A-M-I. They have cold processed fish oil, which would be probably the best one that I would go for, because those oils are so delicate. Is Nutri-C fish oil any good? I've never heard of it, so I can't relate or communicate on that. What do I think of Ben and Jerry's? I don't know. I don't really think anything about it. Honestly, if I wanted to eat ice cream, I'd either just get coconut ice cream or go to the place down the street that's all local and organic. Other than that, I don't really mess with it. But you know, some people really like ice cream. How can you increase GABA in the brain? Well, obviously GABA supplements. From that, you know, it just depends on what GABA means. Because, you know, unless you're a neuroscientist and you're sitting there measuring your GABA levels on a 24-hour basis, it's not really what it's about. It's about what that means. So it's really the better question is, what does more GABA mean to you, and then how can you achieve that? What do I think of Andreas's new, or the oils that David Wolf are endorsing? Sound cool, but I haven't really paid much attention or really invested much time or energy into them at this point. Thoughts on Ormus? Played around with it, you know, in the early days. Tried Mountain Mana is one company, but honestly, it's not something I put a lot of weight or energy or attention into, just because, you know, I already have a pretty solid program that yields great results. And taking something which I don't really know what it is or really know what it comes from is kind of dubious, kind of just in a very far off level. Doesn't really interest me too much. It is an interesting subject. It is fascinating. You know, Lawrence Gardner and people like this who've put out a lot of information about it. Very interesting stuff. So yeah, but let's see, next question. Do I still like pine pollen? And what about reishi spores? Two questions there. First question is, still like pine pollen. For me, I don't really anymore, because I don't know if you saw it, but last April actually, I had my hormone levels tested, and all of my androgen levels were really, really high. My testosterone was almost 4 times the normal range. So I said, okay, I don't need any of this stuff anymore. So I haven't really touched it ever since. It's because, you know, I'm young, 27, have a pretty good lifestyle, pretty good diet, and just having these things in play, and obviously taking the time to get the junk out and eliminate all that stuff from your life and have other pieces in play, after a while you don't really need to jack your androgen levels up, because your body can naturally do it. But if you're someone who chronically or clinically has been sort of diagnosed with low androgens, then it would be an appropriate thing. But other than that, I don't really think it's that beneficial. Let's see. There's another. Oh, reishi spores. Reishi spores, not really a big fan of, but reishi spore oil, big fan of, and that's something I'll be actually coming out with probably next week. I haven't told really anyone about it, but I'll have reishi spore oil next week, which is really strong stuff, really potent stuff you can really feel, and I'm going to have it at a price that's never been seen before on the marketplace. So I'm really stoked about that. So again, reishi spores, if you're going to consume them, make sure they're cracked. But for me, I think the spore oil is a lot more potent. Obviously, it's going to be a lot more expensive, so that's just kind of how I get down with it. What do I think about Life Regenerator? I've never, you know, I saw some of his stuff a couple years ago when I first started out, but I don't really watch his videos. I mean, I think juicing, for someone who's starting off on health, is amazing. Juicing definitely helped me totally cleanse and rebuild my body and get to a different level of health, and I still enjoy a green juice, you know, a couple times a week that I get from a juice bar. That's, you know, fun. There's no denying the benefits of like juicing. There's no denying the benefits of actually eating real foods. But that's what I would say. Would I take it as far as being, you know, a raw vegan or getting all into that? No, I don't. Doesn't really work for me. It's not really what I'm interested in or what I want to do. So that's, you know, pretty much all I would say. But it seems like he's helping a lot of people. He's putting out some good information to, you know, it's kind of like supply and demand. You know, we all sort of have different goals and ideas and different perspectives. So, you know, I'm sure he's putting out information, and he's really helping people who need that, or he's helping people who need that information. So you definitely can't knock that. And so yeah, that's what I think. It's definitely cool. You know, if more people drink vegetable juice, they'd probably feel a lot better, to be totally honest. Um, would you be interested in sampling minimalist earthing sandals I'm developing? Oh yeah, definitely. I would email me at the Hyperion Herbs website or on Facebook, and then we can talk more there. When I take my herbs, my liver hurts ideas, just depends what that means, depends what herbs you're taking, depends when you're taking them. Could be taking too much. That's what I would say. I mean, maybe it's not what you need to be focusing on. Maybe it's not a good thing to be taking. Is reishi spore safe for pregnant women? I probably wouldn't. I don't know. That's a really tricky one. If I were pregnant, I would take the spore oil. If I were pregnant, I would take probably the hot water extract over the spores. Just because the extract is probably going to be a little more fine-tuned than the spores. There's been more research, there's been more validation, so that's what I would do. And also, in case you're wondering, this is coconut juice or coconut water with lime that I got from the store because I'm really thirsty. The juice. Let's see. What do I think about Himalayan salt? Himalayan salt and Celtic sea salt. Probably the only two salts I'd really mess with. They're really good. So yeah, I would definitely rock it out. Any tips on finding... Wait. Oh, lost it. Okay, Prill beads and MMS. I don't know anything about either of those, so I can't really advise on that. Any tips on finding optimum ways to introspect in order to... Lost it again. In order to find a more clear idea of what you want in life. Yeah, one thing you could do, this is a little more direct than what a lot of people say, but it's for some reason it seems like we all know what we don't want, what we don't like, more so than what we do. So if you really just sit down and write a list of all the things you don't like, things you don't want to do, and then you have that on one side of the paper and you flip that, turn it into something positive. So you turn it, let's say, I really dislike being around angry, negative people. You know that it's clear, so you flip that and you turn around and say, I am surrounded by peaceful, calm, laid back, relaxed, happy people. And then you take that all the way down. And that can be a great way to sort of start to get clarity. Because sometimes, like, that's just easier. Because for some reason we can complain easier than we can really give thanks or really think positively. So I would definitely start with that. Do I grow the herbs that you sell, hence Herb Gardener? I don't personally grow them, and like I said, I only made that YouTube name like 2005 or something, or 2004 when I first got a YouTube channel, and I didn't really intend to ever have a YouTube channel. So if I could change that name, I definitely would, but it's too far down to really start over. I have like almost 13,000 followers, so I don't really want to go back and start over. Fit herbs versus hot water extracts. Fit is fun and cool. I've tried all of the products. They taste really good. They're really fun. But I think they're necessarily better. I mean, you can't really say. I'm not going to say anything bad about other companies' products. I will say that they definitely don't state a ratio. So if I had to choose between a Fit Ho Shou Wu product or my 16:1, I'm going to take the 16:1. But the Fit Schizandra tastes really good. But the Schizandra extract that I have, that's a hot water extract, tastes way better and has actually all 5 flavors. So I mean, Fit's a cool idea. It's a cool concept. It's cool that it's environmentally friendly. It's cool that it does all these things, but I don't think that's necessarily better. And I don't really buy into the idea that raw is best. Because really, when we're dealing with a lot of herbs, we don't oftentimes want them raw because we're not eating them for those reasons. We're eating them for those deeper chemicals which become more free and more available through extraction. that's just my initial opinion. We'll see more, because this technology is so new that people I've talked to in China basically say it's really new. There's still needing to be a lot of research done on it. We don't really know, and it's just, yeah, it's just kind of a new thing. So those are my thoughts on it. What are my thoughts on minimalist running shoes? If you're gonna run, I would probably go minimalist, unless you're gonna be running on asphalt. Which, if you're gonna run, I would definitely, again, try to be as relaxed and peaceful and calm as possible. And yeah, ease into minimalist shoes, because if you just go out and run in them, you're not used to it. It can really hurt your Achilles and your calves. Try to run on grass, and just try to minimize the beat down and the impact on your body, and just try to run more smoothly and more relaxed. So that's what I would say. Is just don't get into stress, don't get into fight or flight, don't get into beating yourself up. Realize that if you're exercising, it's about health. It's not about beating yourself up or struggling or torturing yourself. It's about feeling good, feeling peaceful and relaxed and calm. What are my thoughts on chronic masturbation? I guess it depends on how old you are, and I would say if you're a teenage boy, it's usually pretty normal. Is it the best thing ever? Is it the healthiest thing ever? Not necessarily, but that's a delicate age. It's a tough age. You have all these things rushing through your brain, but you don't really know how to deal with it or know how to handle it. If it were me, and I could look back and change things, I definitely would have been a little smarter with how I use things and been a little more conservative. But you live and you learn. I would say if someone's older and they're still doing that, probably need to learn to reacclimate and refocus that energy into something more conductive, like connecting with another person or circulating the energy in their body or something like that. Advice for painters who are constantly exposed to lead, petroleum, cadmium, cobalt, etc. Good question. So I would say a few things. Number one, regular infrared saunas, crucial. Things like cilantro, green vegetable juices, but also taking chlorella on a regular basis would be great. Also taking clay on a regular basis, because those two things can bind to and help us remove the metals and toxins. Also, yeah, hot and cold alternating showers. I wouldn't use those to replace an infrared sauna, but they can definitely have benefits for the lymphatic system and the circulatory system. So yeah. And what is the best source of water if you aren't any springs? Yeah, I forgot about that question earlier. Okay, what kind of clay? There's a brand called Yerba Prima, YERBAPRIMA, and they just have like a liquid clay that you can buy and drink. Tastes pretty neutral. It's really cheap. It's like $3 to $5 for a bottle, so I would do that. So what's the best water if you don't have a spring? Spring water that you can get delivered. That would be the second best. As far as filters, filtration units, I really don't know. I've never really educated myself on that, because I've just been lucky enough over the last 5-6 years to have a local spring that I know about. Before that, I just did bottled. I just did stuff from the health food store. So I'm sorry. That's pretty much all I can say on that one. Let's see. What percent of the time do I sleep grounded? Let's see. Oh yeah, all night, because I have a grounded sheet on my bed, so all night. Definitely, at first I noticed sleeping deeper and feeling better. So I would definitely recommend the grounding technology. I have one on my computer. Actually, I have this mouse pad here where I use that when I'm on my computer, because I'm being blasted with EMF from the Bluetooth mouse and keyboard and the Wi-Fi and all the stuff around me. So that's really where I do it. Then on my bed I have a grounded sheet as well. How long did it take to grow that badass beard? 27 years. Yeah. I've been working on it probably since like December, as far as like letting it come in and selling it, and letting it come in and shaving it. But yeah, it's been a long time, and for my whole life, could never really grow a beard. But definitely over the last, yeah, like December, January, started to come in, and I'm digging it. It's working out pretty well. I never thought I would like it, but definitely got used to it. Let's see. If I'm sleeping polyphasically, would Hoshiwu shorten my sleep cycles? I don't think it would shorten it. It seems like it would only make them more effective, given that it's a sort of a yin tonic and help you, recharge and rebuild the battery. So that's my initial thoughts. I've never done polyphasic sleep. I've never tried it. I like to sleep too much, so I couldn't get into it. I usually, someone asked earlier how much do I sleep at night? As much as I need to, but anywhere from 7 to 10 hours, depending on what I feel. If I wake up at a certain time, then I wake up at a certain time, but usually I just go to bed ideally between 11 and 12, but sometimes as late as 2, and then get up about 9:30 or like 11 at the latest. It just depends. So I just try to listen to my body. So that's really the best thing. If you can, just let your body do what it needs to do, then just do what it needs to do and sort of balance out. Is that the key to getting rid of bags under my eyes? I don't know. It could be many things. It could be adrenal fatigue. It could be edema. It could be your body not being able to process water properly. Or it could be like anger and bitterness and fear, which is caught and trapped up and crystallized in the organs. Okay, so I have to go in just a few minutes because it's been an hour and 11 minutes and it's 9:15 and I need to eat dinner. I know last time I did like 2.5 hours. I know, sorry about that. I know it did it did go pretty quickly. So I'll do another one next week, definitely. Let's see, I was gonna, one thing, yeah, I'm gonna do it probably every week from here on. And then also, I want to, if you didn't see the video I did on stretching, I did on the active isolated stretching, you should definitely check this out. It's really good stretching. And if you only have a really small amount of time, check out part 5 of the active isolated stretching for the neck and shoulders. It's really awesome, really simple stuff which can really increase flexibility. And really, when you start to stretch and loosen up your neck and shoulders, it will really chill you out and really relax you. So I would definitely look at that, learn that stuff, get it into your arsenal, and you'll notice some really positive changes. And I can just tell you, for myself, doing the stretches of, just even once a day for like a couple minutes, major differences. So I uploaded it a couple days ago. It'll be how to increase flexibility and relieve stress. I would definitely check that out. That's some really powerful stuff. So before I go, I'm trying to think what's coming up this week. It's like Memorial Day, so it's like things are sort of slow for the next couple days, but like I said, reishi spore oil will be coming out sometime next week. I'll have some cool videos and pictures of the reishi harvest that I did today. I'll have some new articles and podcasts coming out next week, some more videos coming out as well, and yeah, I think that's it. I'm yeah, definitely. Oh yeah, I got the Waking Life quote right there. Yeah, Pavel is a crucial guy as well. His stretching stuff and his fitness stuff, that guy is like a genius. So yeah, actually the gynostemma, wanted to let you know, since this person just mentioned it, I actually just upgraded all of the gynostemma supply. Basically, I had a really high grade, really great product, but was able to finagle with my supplier to get an even higher grade, and I didn't have to raise the price to do that, which is really the benefit, because I'm doing more quality and all these things, or more quantity, more volume, so I'm able to really negotiate and say, hey, how about we get this better stuff, and we do this, and we make this, and we tweak that, and then just continually making things better. Because that's just really what I'm into. If you look at the videos that I started from day one, they've only gotten better from this point, and if you froze right now and we went a year forward, the videos and everything is just going to get better. The same thing for for everything. It's just kind of what I'm into, and what I try to bring forward is just expansion and movement and transformation and free flow. So yeah, thanks for definitely thank you for checking out this Q&A and submitting your questions. It's been a lot of fun. The hour just totally blew by in like 10 seconds. We'll do this again next week, and I'll apologize again for the short notice. I'll give you a better notice next week. But if we're not friends on Facebook, I'm going to post my Facebook now, so that if we're not friends, we can become friends. It's right there. If you just type in my name on Facebook, you'll see it as well. You can send me a friend's request. We can connect there. So yeah, thanks. Yeah. So yeah, thanks again, everyone, for checking this out. I'm going to be posting the recording in case you missed anything, and I will be doing this again next week. I'll let you know the date and time once I have it ironed out, because I'm going to be out of town doing a little bit of traveling. So yeah. So yeah, thanks for checking it out. Hope you guys have a good night, and thanks again for all the questions, all the kind words, all the support. Really appreciate it. You guys are awesome. And I'm going to go eat some dinner now. So have a good night.